edition of ROHOTMU, random selections from the official handbook of the Marvel Universe Deluxe Edition, here on the Worst Collection Ever feed. You know, we had every intention of doing a full episode this week, and time just got away from us. Things were pretty busy earlier this week, so we just didn't get a chance to record when we preferred to. So we'll have to make it up to another week, but didn't want the feed to go dormant for a week. So here I am, Sean, your host, opening up another page of the official handbook of the Marvel Universe Deluxe Edition and seeing what I find, seeing what there is in store for me to try to, improv my way through, trying to make jokes and make observations about Marvel characters from the 80s, if you're not familiar with this segment that we do. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm not really going to waste much time because I want to get this out to y'all. So let's go ahead and see what we get. I'm going to open up a page here. Hopefully I don't pick something with multiple pages because I don't know. I don't care. I'm not very, for some reason I've realized over the years that I'm not very good reader when I have to read aloud. So, I'm okay because I'm a broadcaster, but it's not to my liking. So, it's a lot of energy. So let's see what we get. Hopefully we'll get somebody weird. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. I'm opening it up in the dead book too. So of course I opened it up to the, speaking of which, I opened it up to the cover of the number 16 of the Marvel Universe Deluxe Edition Book of the Dead. So I guess I have to try it again. So maybe I'll try a little bit higher up here. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Oh, all right. Got somebody I actually care about here. I'm a fan of Tigra. Tigra, of course, a member of the West Coast Avengers in its early iterations. She's quite a interesting character. I find her to be very interesting. I find her to be very, it's kind of like a She-Hulk kind of thing where, Greer Nelson was just, your average woman, albeit a secret agent or whatever. But Tigra has a completely different personality, and it just happens she's a werecat. I'm not. Honestly, I mean, is she a werecat? I guess. I mean, she definitely has one of the more unique costumes of the Marvel Universe. Back in the 80s when they were drawing this, it wasn't really wasn't all that practical, but she made do. But here she is, standing here posing with her hands on her hips, looking awesome. And then below that, we have a picture of her attacking. What is this guy's name? The Griffin, I believe it is. It's a Griffin. It's the Griffin. I've seen him before. Well, let's go ahead and talk about her, shall we? So we've got Tigra, aka Greer Nelson, Greer Grant Nelson, professional adventurer, identity secret, citizen of the United States with no criminal record. Other current aliases, the Werecat. Never heard her. I wonder where she's actually been called that. I never actually have seen that. Maybe it was like something from like the older books, like when she first debuted, and they're kind of treating it more of like a horror thing because I believe it wasn't Chillers, but we'll see here in a second. But former aliases, the Cat, birthplace Chicago, marital status widowed, former known relatives William, husband deceased. Group affiliation, former member of the East Coast Avengers, current member of the West Coast Avengers. That's right. Base of operations, Los Angeles, California. First appearance as the Cat number 1. And as Tigra, she was debuted in Giant-Sized Creatures number 1. So they did try, I feel like they tried to kind of like go like a horror angle with her at first, but probably were just like, you know what? She's a pretty looking cat lady, so we're going to go ahead and put her in just, regular situations and keep the spookiness out. Greer Grant Nelson was the recipient of 2 separate sets of superhuman abilities, one scientific and one mystical in nature. It's called double dipping, folks. And nothing wrong with that. It's actually kind of nice if you can get that. As a laboratory assistant to Dr. Joanne Marie Romulo, Nelson became involved in a physiological conditioning program which would enable a human being to attain his or her full physical and mental potential. Out of financial desperation, Dr. Tamula, I almost said tomato, had accepted private funding for the project from Malcolm Donalbain. I almost want to say Malcolm McDowell, an eccentric former executive of the Brand Corporation who planned to create an army of women warriors to serve him. I'd like to know more about this women warriors plan. Like, was he like just checking out all women? Did he have a specific kind of women in mind? Was it like all races? Was it all sizes and shapes? I think it would be kind of interesting to get that elaborated on. Not trusting the test subjects that Donalbain had coerced her to use, Tumulo had Nelson secretly undertake the experiment alongside other women. Donalbain sounds like if Donald Duck was Bane. I think that would be an interesting visual. And probably somebody has already done it on DeviantArt. If you're on DeviantArt and you've drawn Donald Duck as Bane, get at us here, worstcollectionever@gmail.com. Tumulo had Nelson secretly undertake the experiment alongside other women. Donalbain's test subjects, Shirley Bryant and Greer Nelson, emerged from the battery of treatments with superhuman physical capabilities. Donalbain outfitted Bryant with one of a wardrobe of cat costumes he had designed and placed a will-nullifying collar around her neck. When Bryant died in a test of her abilities, Donalbain had his henchmen set off dynamite charges in the laboratory to make it appear that Bryant died accidentally in an explosion because his women warriors were going south. Believing her mentor had died, Nelson was determined to use her newly gained powers to avenge Tumulo and put a stop to Donalbain's plans. She donned one of Donalbain's cat costumes and, calling herself the Cat, as opposed to the Dog, she thwarted Donalbain's plans and sent him to jail. Nelson soon learned that Tumulo had not been killed but had been hospitalized for apparent brain damage. During this time, Greer Nelson pursued a brief career as a crime fighter in the identity of the Cat, operating mostly within the Chicago area, where she ate plenty of dogs from the Wiener Circle. Unknown to Nelson, Tumulo was a member of the Cat People, so her boss. So they'd be like going in to like work and finding out your boss was like a were-lizard or something. Or maybe that could be possible because people do believe that there are lizard people out there, so it's not that far off. No, I guess maybe she could be a race of pachyderms, human pachyderms. You never know. But unknown to Nelson, Tumulo was a member of the Cat People, a race of humanoids magically evolved from cats in Europe during the Middle Ages. How about that? So I'm trying to imagine if my cats were evolved, we'd be still yelling at them because they'd be jerks. Tully or Harley would just be sitting around with a big dumb look on his face, sitting on the couch, trying to bothering me. And Leela would just be sleeping somewhere, and Luna would be causing all sorts of trouble, running around the house. But just imagine that as a full-sized human, which is pretty terrifying. Unknown to Nelson, Tumulo was a part of the Cat People. Okay, we got that. Prior to the explosion, Donalbain engineered, Tumulo had become aware of a plot by the subversive organization Hydra to steal a bacterial culture that had been developed by Tumulo's ancestors. Hydra had discovered the secret of Tumulo's ancestry and suspected her of possessing the formula of the final secret, or the Black Plague. So the Cat People were in charge of the bubonic plague as something like that? Is that what we're supposed to believe here? Because I thought the bubonic plague was already because of rats and everything, I mean, it had nothing to do with cats. Are we retconning the bubonic plague here? Because that doesn't make any sense. Tumulo had chosen to feign brain damage in order to evade Hydra, but Hydra abducted her, from the private home where she had been convalescing. Why is convalescing in quotes? Oh, because she was not really brain damaged. Excuse me. Nelson put on her cat costume and pursued them. Hydra agents fled from the cat's attack, but during the confrontation managed to shoot her with alpha radiation, an unknown form of radioactivity. To save Nelson's life, Tumulo and the cat people mystically transformed her into a legendary half-human, half-cat warrior they called the Tigra. As Tigra, Nelson helped the cat people defeat the Hydra agents. So she was basically mutated to save her life. Which I don't know. That's not that. You know what? If I'm in dire straits and you guys need to mutate me into something, I give you permission to do it. You know why? I mean, as long as it's something where it's not like a lot of eyeballs everywhere or just weird limbs or something. If you want to put me into something cool, like you want to transform me into like a human cheetah or rhino or whatever it is, you want to, so I can live a couple extra years. Why not? Give it a shot. What else am I doing? I'm sitting here reading out of a comic book for you guys. That's what I'm doing. But if you guys want to change me into some sort of alligator man, that's cool. I'm down with that. Although she was able to use the cat's head amulet to change back to her human form, Nelson became so accustomed and enamored of her feline form that she seldom made the transformation. Moving from Chicago, she became a full-time adventurer, encountering and defeating such enemies as the Rat Pack, Kraven the Hunter, that's a pretty big one, Tabber, and Super Skrull. Oh, how about Super Skrull's pretty hardcore too. I actually would be interested in reading more about that. I don't know how she defeated a Skrull on her own. I mean, I guess they're just aliens. If you can incapacitate an alien, you're already ahead of the game. I mean, Super Skrull's got lots of powers, but if you could neutralize it, I guess you're doing pretty good. So basically, going through the rest of this here, she hooked up, working with Red Wolf, if you guys know about Red Wolf. Also Spider-Man, Fantastic Four. Tigra was among the handful of costume fighters that the telepath Moondragon coerced into vying for Avengers membership. She was selected. Wait, so what the hell? Wait, so Moondragon was like just bored and was like, you know what? There should be more Avengers. Did I read that right? Doesn't she have anything else better to do than to be like making more Avengers? Anyways, Tigra basically got in to the Avengers, and she proved herself in a battle with the Molecule Man, but she decided to resign her active membership and moved to San Francisco, where she hung out with Jessica Drew. So that's cool. Months later, Hawkeye moved to Los Angeles to form a West Coast branch of the Avengers. She was invited to join. She made a staunch addition to the team, despite the fact that her human and feline sides of her personality had become at odds with one another, causing her erratic behavior to become erratic. Because of her cat-like need for affection, she became involved with both Wonder Man and Hank Pym. That's right. So in the early issues of West Coast Avengers, there's a lot of her going around trying to hook up with dudes on the team, particularly Hank Pym and Wonder Man. Wonder Man gets really hurt, kind of bummed out that she. I think she's shacking up with trying to shack up with Hank, and I had this photo of her. I don't know what the hell's going. It was just the way it was framed was pretty ridiculous. Where she's making she's in the. You see them in the window, making out. Hank and Tigra making out, and Wonder Man just kind of walking by with like this weird, goofy stride and has a big smile on his face, and he just walks right past this scene. It's really silly. But the ultimate solution for her discordant natures presented itself when she and the West Coast Avengers journeyed to the Land Within, the magical dimension where the parent tribe of the cat people dwelled. That's right. This is a very, again, in the early on issues of the West Coast Avengers, they do end up going down to this cat world, and it's something where like there's like these hunky like warrior cats that are trying to hook up with her and stuff. It's pretty wild. The ruler of the cat people offered to magically cure her of of the split personality if she would kill Master Pandemonium, a demonic human whom the cat people feared and hated. Master Pandemonium actually be a great entry to read in this. Although Tigra agreed, she could not bring herself to violate the Avengers Code against killing when she had the chance with him. Finally, the second trip to the land within, Tigra managed to integrate her two warring souls without committing murder. The process involved the removal of her cat soul entirely and subsequent restoration of it while she wore a facsimile of her original cat suit. Transformed more completely than before into the legendary she-warrior, Tigra sprouted the tail like the other cat people had, and returning to the West Coast Avengers, Tigra found that the two aspects of her personality are once again fully integrated. She remains an active member of the West Coast Avengers, living at their headquarters compound. I guess she didn't always have this tail. I assumed that she did, but there are some photos here where she does not have a tail. I guess that makes sense. But yeah, she got the full treatment from the cat people, and they basically did a Bruce Banner Smart Hulk kind of thing with her, which are kind of some of my favorite characters when you have like the split personalities and they merge them into like one like real badass personality. I kind of like that. So that's what they kind of did for her. Height 5'10", weight 180, eyes green, hair orange fur. Unusual features. Tigra has the vertically slitted pupils of a cat. She has orange fur with black stripes all over her body and a long mane of red-orange hair around her head. I mean, that's not that unusual to have a big hairdo back in the 80s. She also has a 3-foot-long tail growing from the bottom of her spine. That is odd. Strength level. Tigra possesses the superhuman strength, enabling her to lift or press approximately 5 tons under optimal conditions. So she's pretty strong. I think 5 tons ain't nothing to sneeze at. Hulk's stronger than that, but 5 tons, that's a good workout right there. It comes in handy. Known superhuman powers. Tigra possesses superhuman strength, ability, endurance, and sensory acuity. She can perform complex gymnastics exercises with relative ease, run faster than a trained human athlete, and perform a standing high jump of 12 feet. She can slam dunk, folks. Tigra's senses are about 10 times as keen as the average humans and about 5 times that of an average cat's. Tigra could smell and identify highly diffuse odors and selectively sort through various odors so as to follow a quarry's train. Tigra can detect subtle alterations to the composition of perspiration that reflect mood or emotions, and is highly sensitive to pheromones. Her hearing is sufficiently acute so as to detect the sound made by a ball of tissue paper dropped at the ground at 40 feet. She could hear really well, but that's gotta be nuts when you just hear people like eating bags of chips or something, like, in the park or something, or just somebody having a sniffle, and they're not really like taking care of it, and they're not blowing their nose, but they're having a sniffle, and you can hear it from like a block away. That might be really difficult. But you know what? Make the world small. That's how you handle that. Tigra, what else can she do? Her hearing, yes, I've talked about that. Tigra's eyesight extends slightly into the infrared portion of the electromagnetic spectrum, and she has superhuman visual acuity. My late friend Greg had some of the best eyesight I think I've ever known. And as somebody who wears glasses, I am very jealous of him. But his eyesight was ridiculous. Like, he could see like droplets of water from like long distances. Like, he could see everything. That dude saw everything. It was nuts. Her vertically slit pupils impose a greater angle of vision above and below her, which allows her to easily sense the movements of an opponent. So she has great peripheral vision, not just side to side, but up and down. Paraphernalia. Tigra wears a cat's head amulet around her throat, which once enabled her to change from feline to human and vice versa. It no longer works, just for show. Note, one of the cat's suits created by Malcolm Baines was later used by Patsy Walker in the guise of Hellcat, and in some as yet unexplained manner, the costume enhanced Walker's physical capabilities to the level of the cat's without her undergoing the conditioning process Nelson went. That's something I thought was originally the deal with Tigra, is that the suit actually gave her powers, but that's not the case. Apparently, the suit only gives Patsy powers. And that's it for the entry. The pictures we have here, we got Tigra walking on a rope while Silver Centurion Iron Man looks on. Got her lunging. We got her doing her change from Tigra to Greer by touching her amulet. And then we just got a nice gymnastics panel of her doing some flying and hip hopping or whatever it is that she's doing. So she looks, she's awesome. I like Tigra. I like the cat story that's in the West Coast Avengers. It's a pretty wild story, and early West Coast Avengers is actually some of my favorite stuff. So maybe we'll get a chance to read that sometime in the future. But that's it for me. I'm gonna wrap this up here. Find me on Twitter and Instagram at Angry Hero Sean. You can find Jen at Jen Stansfield on Twitter and Instagram. You can email the show at worstcollectionever@gmail.com, and please rate and review the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and anywhere you listen to your shows. And check me out on YouTube at Angry Hero 79, where I open up action figures and stuff like that. So you can keep an eye out for that. And oh yeah, by the way, I'm on Twitch at Angry Hero 79 on Twitch. No, Angry Hero Sean. I always forget. Look up Angry Hero on Twitch, and I'm on there. So you can watch me play video games if I ever figure something out. But it's pretty neat. Anyways, folks, thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you again next time.